So in the last lesson, we learned how to tempo match and beat mix two songs together. Plus, we learned about the 4-bar counting trick. We're going to use this knowledge plus another thing that I'll teach you in this lesson to give you some tips on knowing when and where to hit play on the track when you're performing a mix. First up, let's take a look at a typical techno track. I'm going to pick a song by one of my favorite artists right now. Her name is Emily Lenz, and this is her tune, Drift. A track like this is made up of different segments or chunks called song sections. There are different types of song sections depending on the style of music. For techno, usually there's an intro at the beginning, which is usually either just a sparse drum beat or a synth. And then there's a verse, which contains more musical elements. There's a breakdown, which is where the drums disappear and it gets a bit quiet. A buildup, which has an increase in energy and tension. And then a drop, which usually has big drums and is the most recognizable part of the tune. Finally, the ending usually consists of an outro, which is also sparse, like the intro. It's useful to look at music this way because it gives you a mental model of how a track will progress. One of the most basic mixes that you can do is to mix in the intro of a song during the outro of a currently playing track. The reason this works almost all of the time is because the intro and outro usually contain just a few musical elements. Maybe just the drums, a synth, or a bass line. Let's try that right now. Counting using the 4-bar trick is a handy way of keeping track of song sections in a tune because, as we mentioned earlier, almost all of dance music can be counted this way. Alright, so I've got 2 tracks loaded here. Deck 1 is almost done. Let's say I played through the song already, and I want to mix into the track on Deck 2, which is a tune by Enrico Sangiano called Blooming Era. Just by looking at the waveforms, I can already tell that there's an outro coming up for Deck 1, which is the Emily Lenz track. I can also tell that in Deck 2, there's a nice quiet intro with a sparse drum beat because I can see the waveform spikes. And also, this is the intro section. So I already heard this, I know this track well, I know that the intro is a little bit quiet compared to the rest of the tune. So I'm going to play the track over in Deck 1, I'm going to count in 4-bar sections, and then I'm going to hit play on Deck 2 right when the outro for Deck 1 begins. Let's try it out. First, I want to make sure that headphone cue is enabled for Deck 2. That means I can hear this in my headphones. And also I want to make sure that the tempos are matched. They are, so let's go try mixing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So I hit play on Deck 2 right as the outro begins over here on Deck 1. I'm gonna hit sync, make sure that beats are lined up, and then I'm gonna move the crossfader from the left deck over onto the right. There you go. Nice smooth mix. I can even just leave the crossfader in the middle because I know that soon as Deck 1 ends, the outro section of Deck 1 ends, Deck 2 will start in the verse. Nice, smooth, clean mix. I can move this all the way to the right, and then I can prepare my next track over here in Deck 1. So that's it. Mixing with intros and outros is one of the most basic and most useful mix techniques for all DJs. And you can actually play a lot of parties and gigs doing just this. Of course, there are other styles you can explore, such as mixing the intro of your next tune with a break of the track that's currently playing. The way to know if they're going to sound good is to know your tunes inside and out and to practice mixing them. In the next lesson, we'll explore the hot cues performance pad mode of the party mix, so I'm gonna see you then.